Europe is not the only one to be suffering from problems with its energy supply. The energy crisis is ripping through other regions. Moreover, the situation is developing into a worst-case scenario. Oil and other energy products are gaining in value again, while the number of negative factors is only increasing. And there is still no glimmer of hope that the situation will return to normal. Another reason for a surge in oil prices was the fact that two more UK energy companies have filed for bankruptcy. Therefore, the quotes will most likely continue to climb. And what's worse, an increase in US crude oil inventories cannot stop the oil price rally. Moreover, the indicator turned out to be higher than forecasted by over 5 million barrels. Probably the market has not yet moved over this data, and everything is still ahead. After all, Brent crude oil is trading at local highs despite its overbought status. The quote has already reached the highest level of 2018, where it met resistance at 84.50. In this situation, a correction of 10 or even 15% is needed. However, due to trading excitement, the fact remains unaddressed. Furthermore, if the quote hits a new local high, rising above the level of 84.58, the European benchmark is expected to continue rising towards 86.00. WTI crude is also moved up following a slight decline. For now, the US benchmark is trading at the level of $81.40 per barrel. According to forecast, the price may well extend gains to at least $82 per barrel. Higher energy prices affected the ruble exchange rate as expected. Despite trading excitement in commodity markets, the Russian currency entered a slight correction. However, the dollar-ruble pair failed to overcome the pivot point at 71.50. As a result, the price stalled and then pulled back by about 0.7%. The ruble is highly overbought, therefore it may extend weakness. In order for the volume of long positions on the pair to increase, the pair needs to consolidate above the level of 72.20 rubles per dollar. In this case, the greenback will have every chance to continue strengthening. Yesterday, the euro-ruble pair rebounded from 82.70 and then returned to the area of 83.50. Since the euro is extremely oversold, yesterday's pullback did not lead to the overheated market. Now, in order for the price to enter a correction, it needs to consolidate above the level of 83.50 rubles per euro. In general, yesterday's dynamics of the ruble were exactly like of major currencies following the release of US inflation data. However, since the Russian currency was already highly overbought and its correction was long overdue, it started to lose in value well before the US inflation report. Then, about an hour after its publication, the ruble, like other currencies, began to strengthen and recouped much of its early losses. In addition, the ruble is still being supported by the energy market. Therefore, the Russian currency is expected to extend gains. When the American session opens and data on US producer prices is released, the pace of its bullish run is likely to ease. And that's all for now. We wish you profitable deals. See our channel with a new video in a couple of hours.